Hello, welcome to my Mechatronics project. This is George, aka Big Guy, and this is my big plant box of fun. I intended this to be an automatic plant care system, and I feel like I've definitely achieved that goal. Uh, First, I'm going to walk you through the sensors and actuators. So you can open it up like this and like this. So, first there is the soil moisture sensor that I bought off of Amazon. There is a thermistor right here to take temperature, and a water level sensor, not unlike the ones we used in the lab. And as far as actuators go, there is a water pump at the bottom of the cup, but it's white, very difficult to see, attached to the hose. There is also a fill light, I'll get into what that does in a moment, and an LCD screen at the front for various readouts. Now, as far as setup goes, we all know that plants demand patience, so I'm going to be using simulated scenarios. Firstly, I have a cup of dry soil here. We're not going to test out on an actual plant because this is science. All you need to do is just stick that in here and give the hose enough clearance so that it doesn't suck back any water, and I'm just going to put the soil sensor right next to it so that this doesn't take too long. Now, there are 4 conditions that we need to go over for this, and the 4 conditions that I programmed into the Arduino. One is that if the soil is dry and the tank is full, that being the tank, water should trickle in a little bit at a time, and the display will reflect the state of the soil. Next is when the soil is wet and the tank is full, there should be no water. The other 2 conditions are interesting. If the soil is wet and the tank is empty, the water pump will not turn on, and the fill light will turn on to let the user know that the tank needs to be topped off. And the next thing is, if the soil is dry and the tank is empty, therefore if the soil needs water but there is no water, the motor will not turn on, and the fill light will turn on. So first we're going to do, this soil is dry and the tank is full. So I'm going to plug in the Arduino and start recording again. Okay, I'm about to plug in the Arduino, and when I do, the LCD should light up with its readings. There will be a small delay for the water level sensor and the soil moisture sensor to gather its information. I programmed these delays on purpose, and you'll see why in the code. The LCD screen will light up and water should come trickling out just a little bit at a time. But there is water coming out very slowly. And now the screen should say that the soil is wet and dry after it gives the temperature reading. Obviously, my house is very cold. It'll say soil value is 246. Well, that doesn't mean anything until it says soil is wet/dry. So there is water stuck in the pipe, but there's nothing coming out. I decided I didn't want to factor in the principles of fluid dynamics. So that's the first condition, is that the tank is still full. The fill light is not on. Okay, so I used this giant syringe to take some water out of the tank. I know it's not completely empty, but at least none of it is touching the water. And now, as you'll see, the fill light has turned on and is glowing. Now we know that the soil is still wet, so what I'm going to do is take that dry cup of soil and put it here. And what should happen is, because there's no water, I don't want the motor to run looking for water, trying to find water to make the soil wet and fulfill its conditions. So I programmed it so that if there's no water but the soil is still dry, it still won't turn on. So I'm going to switch the cups and start recording again. Okay, use this one. So the fill light is on, the tank is empty, and the display is saying the soil is dry. So no matter how long we wait, it isn't dry soil. No matter how long we wait, water will not come out. I'm going to give it about 10 seconds. If no water comes out, then we know it worked. Okay. So yeah, the fill light is still on. What I'm going to do is, just to cycle everything back, is when I fill the tank up with that cup of water, then that we should start seeing water go into the cup again. So I'm going to switch hands here, and I'm going to try to be as careful as I can. So now I've added water to the system. In a few seconds this should turn off. And there you go, the water turned off, or the water turned on and the fill light turned off, and now there is water trickling in, except it's not going to reach the soil moisture sensor just yet, so it's probably going to keep watering. There you go, there's another squirt of water. On this side of the pot, the soil is dry, but if we put it next to the wet water, or the wet soil, I'll say soil value is 267, which is a lot of water. I'll say soil is wet, there's no fill light, and there's no more water coming out. So yeah, once you're comfortable with the conditions, you can just close this. It's got a window on top for sunlight, and you can you just close that door and watch your pretty plant grow in my big plant box of fun. There's the 9-volt battery coming out of the back, and yeah, that's basically it. Fun stuff. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed.